Hi mamas! So welcome to your flow class. This is the first class in the series. Definitely not really for a beginner. That would be more of a yin style. So for today, it's for people that have practiced before, maybe not prenatal, but definitely have practiced before and feel comfortable doing a flow type series. So enjoy. Taking a seated position, the big toes can come together, hips on the heels, and the knees at least hip width distance, if not wider. We'll come into child's pose. So child's pose, just bringing the hands down, elbows down, forearms down, and then making sure the knees are wide enough that the belly goes between the legs without there being any compression down on the belly. So just ensuring that you're not pressing the belly into the thighs or the floor, and then resting the head down on the floor if you can. If you're into the third trimester, you may need to stay propped on the elbows, and that's okay, just so that the belly stays lifted and you're not pushing down on the belly. But if you can, just draw the head to the floor, rest the elbows, the forearms down, the palms down, and breathe in and out by the nose. So inhale and exhale. Child's pose is a great place to start because the center of the forehead is getting stimulated by that compression on the floor. And this will stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest response of the body. So inhale and exhale. Two more nice deep breaths here, keeping the elbows and the forearms rested, just resting the fingertips. Inhale and exhale. Last one in that restful place. Inhale and exhale. Starting to make child's pose a little bit more active, so start to reach the fingertips forward to the top of the mat. Spread the fingers nice and wide, stretching so much that the elbows and the forearms lift off the floor. Maybe even push the hips back into the heels a little bit. If you'd like to do even a little bit more, you can tent up the hands, so only the fingertips pressing into the floor. And really feel the length. You may even feel like the head wants to shift forward on your mat, and that's good too. Just really creating a little bit of extra space in the vertebra. A few deep breaths here. Inhale and exhale. A little more active. Inhale and exhale. And last one. Inhale and exhale. Start to lift the hips up slightly to allow yourself to come into tabletop. Bring the hands directly underneath the shoulders. So wrists directly under shoulders, knees directly underneath the hips. And the knees should be hip width distance or wider, depending on how much stability you need. It can go wider if that feels better for you. Just run through a few cat and cows. On the inhale, take your head and tailbone to the sky. You can let your belly drop. And then on the exhale, you'll tuck your chin in, draw the tailbone towards the floor. Now you're really not pulling the belly in per se, but you're still creating nice rounding in the spine. Inhale, head and tailbone lift. And exhale, round it. Inhale, head and tailbone lift. And exhale, round. One more. Inhale. Allow yourself to maybe take a breath to hold. And then exhale. Finding neutral spine at the end of the exhale. Just readjusting, making sure hands directly underneath the shoulders, knees directly underneath the hips. A little more weight in that left knee as you start to extend the right leg behind you and up towards the ceiling, but only going as high as hip height. If you flexed your right foot, the toes would angle to the floor. You may be able to see your toes, but you may not be, and that's okay. Just keep in mind that we don't want to lift the hip. Lifting the hip brings the hips out of alignment. The toes would angle to the side. We don't want that. So we want the left and the right hip equal, level, and push the floor away. If this is enough for you, stay here for a few breaths. Otherwise, if you'd like more of a challenge, you could always take that left arm up and hold here for 3, for 2, and feel free to drop that left hand to the floor at any point. For 1, left hand down, right knee down, and take your left leg back. Again, we want to take it straight back, trying to keep the left hip in line with the right, and your toes angled to the floor with the foot is flat. Now, absolutely stay here if you'd like to hold here. A little more challenge to take that right arm up. Breathe through the nose. Push the floor away from you. Keep the hips level. Keep engagement for 3. For 2. Last one. Right hand to the floor. Left knee to the ground. We'll come into a downward facing dog.
If you are in your 36 week, you could always just stay in tabletop, as inversions are not recommended. But if you feel good, want to take that downward facing dog, just bringing the hips high. You can bend the knees a little or a lot. And again, you can take a wider stance if you need some more space for the belly. Just draw the head down, push the floor away from you. Make sure the fingers are pressing into the floor equally, so not too much pressure in the wrists or the palms of the hands. And breathe here for 3, for 2. Last nice deep breath, and if you'd like to take some movement here, you can. So bending the knees and wiggling the hips. If you want to keep that stillness, go back to tabletop, even child's pose, that's totally fine. But otherwise, just give yourself a little bit of movement, see how that feels. And then find some stillness. And we'll just baby step our feet to the top of the mat, keeping our feet nice and wide. Now, depending how big the belly is, you may need to take a wider stance. That's up to you where you're at with your stage of your pregnancy. And we'll just hang here. So allowing the feet hip width distance or wider. Dangle is just resting the hands to the floor. You could always come into ragdoll, grabbing your elbows each other, bending the knees a little or a lot, your choice. You can find some stillness here. Maybe you do a little bit of swing. Maybe you need to shake your head yes and no, just to get the kinks out of the back of the neck. Whatever you need for a few breaths. We'll take 3 deep breaths here for 3, for 2, and last 1. Good. Hang the arms to the floor. We're slowly going to round ourselves up. You can use your hands on your legs for support if you need. And then inhaling, slowly walking yourself all the way up. Coming into your modified mountain posture. Now it's modified because you never want to bring the feet together. So feet are hip width distance apart or wider. Palms face forward. Roll the shoulders down the back. Lift the chest. Breathe through the nose. Here's how we do a prenatal flow. Inhale, arms up, reach up, get nice and tall. On the exhale, hands to prayer and forward fold, hands to the floor. Bend the knees if you need. Inhale to halfway lift. Hands can go on the shins. On the exhale, we're going to yogi squat. So toes go out, heels go in, and you'll come into your yogi squat. For my friends that a yogi squat isn't happening, absolutely, you could just start to come here and work this position. Hands come to the floor in front of you. Hips can stay high as much as you need. Okay, otherwise, hips down, elbows to the front of the shins, hands in prayer, chest is lifted, tailbone rooting to the floor. This one's a great for prenatal. Good. Place your hands on the floor. We'll step back to do our modified version first. So we'll come just to tabletop and then straight to downward dog. Now we are going to put chaturangas in the next few flows, but if that's not available to you, doesn't feel right, then take it out and you can always go tabletop to downward dog. Inhale, look towards the hands. Exhale, step forward into that wide stance and come straight into a yogi squat on the inhale. And exhale to fold, hands to the floor, head draws down. Inhale, arms up, reach up, get tall. Exhale, hands through prayer, connect to mountain, we go again. Inhale, arms up, reach up. Exhale, forward fold, hands to the floor. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to yogi squat. Hands to prayer. Good, hands to the floor. Step back here, high plank. You can always take the knees to the floor. I recommend it. Chaturanga. So allow your knees to stay on the floor. You can tap your chin to the floor and then inhale a variation of upward facing dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe through the nose. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, look towards the hands. Exhale, step forward to come into your yogi squat. Draw your tailbone down, hands to prayer, lift the chest. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms up, reach up, get tall. Exhale, hands through prayer, connect to mountain. We do it again. Inhale, arms up, reach up. Exhale, forward fold, hands to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to yogi squat. Inhale, hands to the floor, step back, high plank. Modified version, knees to the floor, low push-up. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Going to move into our flows with a sun B. So inhale, look towards the hands. Exhale, step forward into that yogi squat. Inhale, lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, arms up, reach up, get nice and tall. Exhale, hands through prayer, connect to mountain. Inhale, bend the knees, swoop the hands. You're into a wide-legged chair pose. Now this is the first time we've done it in this series, so just be mindful here that the knees are drawn back a little bit. The tailbone isn't rooting back, it's more just neutral. Chest lifted and arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, come into that yogi squat. Inhale, hands to the floor, step back, high plank. Knees to the floor for your chaturanga if you'd like. Remember, you can always just do tabletop to downward dog. Exhale, downward dog. On your inhale, taking your right foot to the outside of the right hand. And this is just to ensure that you avoid the pressure on the belly. Lower the left heel to the ground and inhale up through warrior two. Laser beam focus over that right middle finger. Draw the tailbone down, the chest lifts, squeeze the shoulder blades together, breathe through the nose. Coming through to an extended side angle. So right forearm can come to right thigh. Left arm sweeps down and through. And then you can look towards the palm of the left hand. Now, so for my yogis that have a little more experience, feel like they need to take the hand to the floor or the block, you can. I recommend just elbow to the thigh is perfectly okay. We're gonna flow through the left arm. When you flow the left arm, I want you to follow your gaze to your palm of your hand, just to allow a little bit of stretch through the neck. So slowly take that left arm down, follow the palm with your eyes, and bring it back. 3 more times. Exhale. Inhale over. Exhale down. Inhale over. Last one. Exhale down. Inhale up. And then hold for a breath. And on your next inhale, warrior two, reverse warrior. Left hand to left thigh, right arm reach back. We tend to want to straighten that front leg, so try to keep it bending just like you were in warrior two in side angle. Reach that right arm back, look towards the palm of the right hand. When you're ready, exhale, windmill the hands to the floor on the inside of the right foot. Rotate that left heel towards the sky, take the left knee to the ground, right foot step back. Chaturanga or straight to downward dog, your choice. Inhale up, exhale back. Breathe through the nose. We go to the left side. Inhale, left foot step forward to the outside of the left wrist, rotate the right heel to the floor, and inhale up through warrior two. Looking over that left middle finger, lift the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades together, draw the tailbone down, breathe through the nose. Extended side angle. Left forearm to left thigh. Right arm goes down and through, and then reach forward as you look towards the palm of your right hand. Again, left hand can reach for the floor or the block. I like just having the forearm on the thigh. We'll float that right arm 4 times. So take it down and then up. Follow the palm with your eyes, down, rotate the head, and up. 2 more, down and up. Last one, down and up. And on your inhale, come through warrior two. Reverse warrior, right hand to right thigh, left arm reach back, keep that left knee bending. Lift through the chest, look towards the palm of your left hand. Bend that left knee, hold for a breath. And then on your exhale, windmill the hands on the inside of the left foot. Take the right heel to the sky and then lower the right knee to the ground. Take yourself down through that chaturanga, or you just go tabletop to downward dog. Your choice. Breathe through the nose. We'll do another sun B. Inhale, look towards the hands. Exhale, step the feet forward for that yogi squat. Elbows to the shins, hands to prayer, lift the chest. Inhale. Exhale, fold hands to the floor. Inhale, arms up, reach up, get nice and tall. Exhale, hands through prayer. Mountain posture. Wide-legged chair, bend the knees, swoop the hands, you're into chair. Lift the chest. Exhale, fold hands to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, yogi squat, bend the knees, hands to prayer, lift the chest. Good, inhale, hands to the floor, step back, knees to the floor for that chaturanga or straight to downward dog. Inhale up and exhale back. Breathe through the nose. On your inhale, take your right foot to the outside of the right hand. And this time we're going to take that left knee all the way to the ground, releasing the left toes behind you. Try to hug your right knee in towards your right shoulder. We will take the foot out and the knee out eventually, but right now I want you to stay nice and tight. So you're trying to keep the knee directly over the ankle and you're keeping the foot completely flat. So you're not opening this up just yet. Some of us are super flexible here, can drop to elbows. Others of us aren't, so you may need to tent up on the hands, or if you're using blocks today, absolutely, you can put your hands on blocks, maybe a pillow. I'm just demonstrating the class without blocks and without props, because I think a lot of us don't have those things, so that's okay. Good. From here, we'll start to heel toe that right foot out, letting the toes go a little bit wider than the heel. And then as you do that, you can let the knee veer off. Now, if you let the knee go open, you need to lift the arch of the foot. And this is to align the ankle, the shin, and the knee. So you're not straining the ankle to open the knee. So you let that happen naturally. And from here, for most of us, when we do that, it just gives us a little more range. So if you feel like you have more range, you could go to your elbows, great. If that's not for you, just stay here or even tent up. It's absolutely whatever works for you. If this feels really good and you want to stay here, by all means stay. Otherwise, we'll open up a little bit with a twist. So just take your right hand to your right thigh and let that right shoulder lift and open up. Again, an option to stay here. You could go as far as taking that right arm up, over and around, reaching for the back wall. You could even go as far as bending through that back knee to grab the foot and opening up. Now this is way more advanced. I wouldn't recommend it for most of us, especially if you're in your third trimester, that sort of thing. But some of us have this openness and need it, so by all means do it. For myself, it's not necessary. I get enough with just here. 2 deep breaths. Good, and then take that right hand back to the floor. Heel toe that right foot back in. Curl the left toes under, bring that right knee back. Again, you could go straight to tabletop and then down dog. Otherwise, chaturanga, chin to the floor, inhale up, and exhale back. We go left side. Inhale, left foot step forward to the outside of the left hand, right knee to the ground, right toes release. And then again, we start with that foot parallel, the knee hugging into the shoulder. Both hands rooted into the floor. If you have the range and flexibility. So if you want to go to your elbows and you go, and then suddenly you have to do that, then don't. Just stay here. You may want to even prop up a little higher, and that's okay too. Breathe through the nose. Nice stretch in the psoas. So good to keep stretching through the hips, releasing and opening. Good, and then from here, if you are in your elbows, you may want to come to your hands for the transition. You'll take the heel toe of the left foot out. Toe going a little wider than the heel, and then letting that knee veer off, lifting the arch of the foot, the big toe, so that the shin, the ankle, the knee are all in one line. And just seeing if this is enough, or maybe you want to go here. And so you find your place and you breathe and hold. Good, if you want to stay here, you stay here. If you'd like to add a little bit of a twist, meaning it should come onto your hand, and just left hand on left thigh, and just a slight open there. Taking it a step further, if you want to go there, you take your left arm behind you, reaching back. Step further from that is bending through that right foot, holding onto the foot. Again, not for everyone, not for most of us being in prenatal classes, but you never know. I just want to be able to make this all levels for everybody. We'll take 2 deep breaths here for 2. And last one. Take that left arm back, hand to the floor, heel to the left foot back in. Curl the right toes under, step that left knee back, curl the toes under. You can go through your chaturanga or just tabletop to downward dog. Breathe through the nose. We're going to do one more sun B flow. Inhale, look towards the hands. Exhale, step into that yogi squat. Getting pretty familiar at this point. And then exhale, fold, draw down. Inhale, arms up, reach up, good tall. Exhale, hands through prayer. Connect to mountain. Chair pose, bend the knees, swoop the hands. You're into chair, lift the chest. Exhale, fold, hands to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, yogi squat. Hands to prayer, elbows to front of shins. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the floor, step back. Draw the knees to the floor if you'd like that chaturanga. Chin to the floor, inhale up. Exhale back. Breathe through the nose. Half pigeon, take your right knee forward towards the outside of the right wrist, and then your left leg back. Now right away, if you know that this isn't for you, you can take deer pose. Deer pose, you'll simply rotate to the right hip, bend the left knee, and you'll make what looks like a bunch of 90-degree angles in the knees, the hips, and you'll just come to here. This will be enough, keeping the belly centered. If there is a twist happening, it's middle to upper spine. If half pigeon is for you, you just rotate back into half pigeon, making sure that left leg is straight back behind you, toes pointed, left hip in line with the right. So we don't want to drag back and have this twisting. We want to make sure everything is neutral. You could put a pillow underneath your left thigh as well as an option. And you can stay upright, or you could go to your elbows. Now for myself, I found in my 3rd trimester, coming to my elbows was enough. The belly started to come down and hang and hit my foot in the floor. That's okay if it touches, but you never want to have pressure there. So just make sure that there's no compression happening on the belly against the foot or the floor. If it is happening, you may just have to stay up on the hands, and that's okay too. It's kind of up to you where you go. And if you start this practice in your 1st or 2nd trimester, by the 3rd trimester, you're so comfortable with it that you really have modified and grown into it, which is a really nice way to move through your pregnancy and the class. Good, and so if you are on your elbows, just come up to your hands. We'll just rotate to the other side. So pushing your hands into the floor, lifting the hips up. You can go straight from tabletop to other side, or you could go into downward dog and do a stretch there. It's up to you, but I'll just keep it simple and just take my left leg forward. But really where you go is up to you. You'll look over, make sure that right leg is straight back, pointed toe. Again, deer on this side, you could rotate to your left hip. Bend the right knee, hold steady here. Or half pigeon, you stay strong in the center, upright, go to the elbows, just making sure that there's no pressure on the belly and the baby, and breathe. Just 2 more nice deep breaths here. If you are on your elbows, just coming up onto the hands, and just rotate over to that left hip. So if you were in deer, you could have just stayed. And then just swing that right leg around, left leg around, and sit on your bum with your legs in front of you. We're going to take a seated forward fold. However, the legs are not to be together. So you can take this into a straddle if you feel like that's going to be more comfortable. But I would recommend feet a little bit wider than hip width distance. You're going to leave enough space that if the belly comes forward and down, it would land between the legs and feel okay, no pressure. If you're super tight, you may want to put your hands on the floor behind you, lift the chest, flex the feet, maybe even bend the knees and sit here. This might be a good position for you. If you have a little bit more range, you'll come forward, maybe even hands to the floor or the shins, maybe even have the option of grabbing the outsides of the feet, the big toes. It's up to you. Just remember, again, I can't stress enough that there's no pressure on the belly. So the belly's coming between the legs. And in this style, what I'll ask is that instead of rounding and falling in, that you actually lift and sit tall. Now what that's gonna do is create a stretch in the hamstrings and the low back. So you won't be able to go as far, but it should be a wonderful stretch in those areas. And that's what we're looking for. If you're just kind of hunkered and hanging down, not much is happening. So just feel the stretch in the length. Breathe through the nose. And to release this, we're just gonna do some reverse tabletop. So bend the knees, make sure the feet or hip width distance are wider. Hands just come to the floor behind you, fingers pointing in the same direction as the toes. Take an inhale, push into the feet and the hands, lift the hips. You can keep your head up towards the ceiling or drop it back behind you. And then exhale, take your butt back to the floor. Coming into butterfly. So bring the feet together, we'll do a tight butterfly first. And that just means that we bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees go wide and come as tight as you possibly can. Bringing the heels into you as much as you can. From here, interlacing the fingers. I want you to sit nice and tall, chest lifted. Elbows go towards the calves, come forward. Now, if that happens and then you have to round, refrain. We'll do that in the next round, in the next step. So I want you to sit tall, chest forward. If you can lean forward, great. If that feels good. If you don't, that's okay too. Just make sure you're getting that nice opening in the groin, chest lifted, feet close to the body. We'll stay in butterfly, but we're just gonna open it up. So you'll slide the feet away from you and be a little bit more generous than maybe you normally would. You can just grab the tops of the feet. This one will round. So this one, you'll allow your elbows to come in front of the shins. If they want to rest, that's okay. But if you have the range, they'll go in front of the shins towards the floor.
You can tuck your chin in and draw yourself down. And just let the back, the neck, and the spine just really open up here. It's not active, there's no pulling. You're really just taking a few breaths and finding the position where the body will stop you. Inhale to come up.
We'll come into an easy cross-legged twist. So just crossing the ankles, sitting up nice and tall. Bring your left hand to the left knee. It's really important that when we do this, that the belly stays stationary and that the twist is happening from middle to upper spine. So belly stays stationary, left hand to left knee. Right hand you just place behind you. You can tent the fingers or just place the palm on the floor. And then keeping the belly button facing forward, you allow your right shoulder just to open up slightly and slightly look over the right side of the body. Now you don't have to overdo the head twist. The twist is meant more for the middle to upper spine, but sometimes just looking over helps to encourage that twist in the upper part of the spine. Make sure that you're not rounding down, so you're sitting tall and you're using that right hand behind you to push into the floor to create length in the spine. Take 2 breaths. And we'll switch to the other side. So just come through center, right hand over the top of the left knee, left hand behind you. Tent the fingers or palm into the floor. Sit nice and tall. Keep the belly button facing forward. And then look over your left shoulder as you start to create that twist in middle to upper spine. You want to keep both hips equally rooted. If you start to feel like that right hip is lifting, you're doing too much. You want to sit natural. There should be no extra weight on that left side hip. We'll take 2 nice deep breaths here. We'll come into our final resting place. So final resting is a sideline shavasana. And the reason that we lie on our side and on our back is for maximum oxygen to the baby, and left side instead of right side, because we want to avoid putting pressure on that major right vein to baby. So you can lie on your left side here and just take a few deep breaths. Right hand can rest somewhat of a fetal position. If this isn't right for you, you don't feel good here, listen to your body. You could always do a child's pose as well. Maybe close the eyes. Just breathe through the nose. Taking a moment to reconnect to yourself. Please feel free to stay here as long as you need to. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to guide you through your prenatal practice. If at any time you have questions or comments or concerns, please don't hesitate to write me, and we hope to see you again very soon. Namaste.